Moonlight Pulse is a really solid and charming metroidvania with a fun teamwork gimmick where you have to swap between multiple characters to survive a dangerous journey and save the life of the giant space turtle you all live on. Just like Biogun, the game I reviewed in my last video, this game also introduces you to a complete new world inside a living organism, and I assure you this is just a fun coincidence. While both Biogun and Moonlight Pulse are Metroidvania games, and they both have a similar premise, they play totally different and have their own style, so I definitely recommend to give them both a try. In this game, you start playing as Silex, a veteran curative agent that protects his home and the ones he cares about from parasites and other dark forces. But this time he needs all the help he can get to stop the attack on his home and not lose himself in the process. First off, I love how you don't start out with all the playable characters immediately, but meet some of them along the way, or sometimes have to play without them for a certain amount of time. It really gives you the time to get to know their personality, backstory and their strengths and weaknesses. So when something happens to one of them, you are emotionally invested. I'm not going to spoil any events, but some moments were pretty shocking or brutal, and it really caught me off guard. Each character feels balanced and well thought out. They all have their own health bar and switching between them is quick and easy. All of them get stronger along the way by unlocking new abilities and items. And while one is better built for combat, another one is more versatile and better at platforming, for example. I liked playing with all of these characters. Some puzzles or sections required a specific move only one of them could do, so these moments made sure you wouldn't skip over any of them. The level design really complemented all these different skill sets and abilities, and there were many visual cues that gave you hints which character you had to use to continue. I feel like the level design could have been more creative overall, but I'm still happy with what I got. The level design gets more versatile and challenging after unlocking more characters, so I do think the difficulty is pretty fair, except for a few sections that ramp up the difficulty in no time, because you have only access to one character, or because you are on a time limit, for example. The combat is a bit basic. The enemy's AI is not really that complicated, and you only have one or two attacks. But the switching between all the playable characters makes it enjoyable enough. Everything about this game is pretty straightforward, and I don't mind it as long as the fundamentals are solid and well designed, which they are. But I do think unlocking new abilities could have been done better. It almost feels a bit random, because most of the time you have to trigger a cutscene and suddenly a character learned or remembered something. It does happen a few times after a boss fight, but in most Metroidvanias you learn a new ability by obtaining a specific item after beating a boss, or as a reward for reaching the end of an area. And here you beat the boss, and after a cutscene you suddenly get a new ability without any explanation. I don't know, it's maybe really nitpicky of me, and I guess I can let it slide when it happens after a boss fight, but it just feels unnatural when it happens out of nowhere. Speaking of boss fights, even though there aren't that many of them, two encounters really surprised me with how inventive they were. They really tested my skills and were just a breath of fresh air. Exploring every nook and cranny of this giant space turtle is really enjoyable. Throughout its whole body are blood vessels, and you can ride these as some type of fast travel. And I thought it was a very inventive way of getting somewhere quickly. It did cause some confusion sometimes, because you don't always know when it's the right time to get off. I managed to skip one exit multiple times by accident, because I thought I already visited that area, and this made me lose a lot of time. A bit of backtracking is also needed to open up shortcuts, and sometimes I just didn't know which exit would take me there. But after some time, it finally all started making sense to me, and I ended up really liking this creative alternative way of fast traveling. Near the end, you will be able to travel through the whole body of this living organism when you enter these blood vessels. So it's definitely a nice way of map progression and getting to know the world better. Another great way of getting to know the world better is completing your journal by defeating a certain amount of enemies. And eventually you will get a really useful item that will help you with 100% map completion as the ultimate reward. So in general, Moonlight Pulse is without a doubt another great addition to the metroidvania genre. It's really solid from start to finish, and while I do have some minor complaints, I had such a good time with this game. I loved the exploration of the map and how riding these blood vessels was your way of fast travel. I was emotionally invested by the story and its characters, and I really enjoyed the teamwork mechanic and how switching between all these playable characters were needed to solve puzzles or to reach new places. It took me 4 to 5 hours to almost 100% complete this game, and I loved every second of it. Apart from the interesting fast travel system, it doesn't really introduce you to fresh or innovative game design. But it's just so charming and well designed that I eventually didn't really mind. It was a bit straightforward at some places. I highly recommend to give this charming little gem a try. It's a bit short, but it's definitely worth your time if you love metroidvanias or just action platformers in general. So be ready to join the heroic curative agents and embark on an exciting adventure that really shows you that sometimes the power of friendship is the greatest power to have.